Hello and welcome, I'm Reece, and here's what happened this week. Smartphones in class could soon be a thing of the past as Taiwan's education ministry mulls stricter regulations that could force schools to keep their students' mobile phones under lock and key. The time between classes is a brief window for students to hop on Instagram or get in a few rounds on their favourite mobile game. But having constant mobile phone access at schools in Taiwan could soon be a privilege revoked. Taiwan's education ministry has submitted a draft bill that would mean stricter regulations on students using phones in schools from September. Lawmakers agree that phones are having a negative impact on young people's education, but say any solution needs to include their perspectives too.
手机规范的管理应该是我们要来帮助在校园里面的学习品质，但是绝对不能造成校园民主的倒退。所以尊重学生的声音，我们希望教育部一定要来坚持。
As it stands, the draft bill will force elementary and junior high schools to collect and store all students' phones for the entire school day. For senior high schools, they'll need to formulate their own smartphone policies after consulting with teachers, parents and students. Students will only be given access to their phones in case of an emergency or if it's needed for educational purposes. The proposed changes are welcomed by many, though some are concerned about how they'll be implemented.
Well, I think it's a great idea, but with most things like this, the devil is in the details, and actually executing it is going to be a challenge. I mean, these are very expensive devices that you're separating from their owners, which leaves the issue of liability there. The school where I'm currently employed has already banned cell phones, but students still do find a way to get them and use them in class.
And while many students agree phones can be a distraction, particularly for younger children, some senior high schoolers say they could be losing a valuable learning tool.
因为有些东西你是不一定只能在书本上或是问老师就可以问得到的东西，而且因为班上人数这么多，所以你要查一个东西的时候，也要自己善用自己身边的工具。
对我来讲，高中生应该是可以完全自主使用手机。那国小跟国中的话，我还是会觉得，国小的话，我觉得是建议不要用手机，因为确实不太，就是还在发育的年龄，感觉还不太会可以自己管控手机的使用方式。
If passed, Taiwan would join a growing list of countries with some form of phone ban in schools, including China, Australia, and many across Europe, as education officials the world over turn on to the idea of getting students to turn these off. Chris Ma and Reece in Taipei for TaiwanPlus. Robots are joining Taiwan's firefighting crews, stepping into danger so their human colleagues don't have to. After one robot was destroyed in a Jiayi chemical blaze, officials say the sacrifice shows why they are so valuable, especially as the public has raised concerns about the safety of first responders. Chris Gorin has more.
Here lie the charred remains of a firefighting robot sent in to help put out a fire at a chemical plant last month in Jiayi in central Taiwan.
人直接先撤出，并留机器人继续在火场里面做防护的动作。人出来没多久，整个温度提高闪燃，所以就后来全面燃烧之后，屋顶就整个塌陷。
The use of these robots has been on the rise in Taiwan, including at another Jiayi factory fire earlier this month. The bots are able to enter structures and spray water in areas too dangerous for human firefighters to go. They're fitted with a number of cameras and sensors, which send information to their controllers through laptops and tablets.
具有热显像功能的镜头。第二个是可以跟随炮塔转动的角度而跟着转动的镜头。最下面这边则是机器人本身的镜头。第四个呢，则是气体侦测器的镜头。
This all as there have been calls for greater protections for first responders like firefighters. An incident in the city of Hsinchu last year, where 2 firefighters lost their lives in the line of duty, saw greater public attention on the issue and demands for reforms from those in the profession. While the robots have had some success, they still have some limitations as well.
目前这些消防机器人还是以人工遥控为主，还没有办法完全的自主判断火场的环境跟自主行动。 它没有办法长时间常驻于现场啊，因为必须要等到消防人员到了才能开始部署。
There are currently 141 of the robots being used in fire departments across the country. The National Fire Agency says the Jiayi fires show the robots' utility in protecting firefighters and will continue to integrate them into their operations.
我们还会再继续进，因为这些成功的案例已经发生了，我们会继续进大概79台消防机器人，未来也会部件各多在各县市继续执行以机器人替代人命的作业。让它能够发挥功效。
Each robot costs between $50,000 and $200,000 US. While the robots may be expensive, fire departments would argue there's no price too high to ensure their human firefighters make it home. Dolphin Chen and Chris Gorin for TaiwanPlus.
6 years ago, a landmark law allowing same-sex couples to marry took effect in Taiwan. Our reporter Lauren Pattermore looks at the impact this historic legislation has had.
Photo shoots, films and performing in public as his drag persona Popcorn. New Zealander Nick Van Halderen never imagined this could be his life. Previously living in Japan with his partner Henry, Nick felt constrained by the country's conservative societal norms. He felt himself shrink back into the closet. But everything changed after a move to Taipei and a landmark change in the law, now 6 years ago. In a first for Asia, Taiwan legalized same-sex marriage in 2019 following a constitutional court ruling and a decades-long fight by local activists. More than 500 eager couples went to the courthouse on the very first day for registrations under the new law. Among them, Nick and Henry.
So it was quite like a spectacle, the whole thing. But just, yeah, it was like a big production line of couples getting married, kind of just moving through this clerk's office, and yeah, and everyone was happy and taking photos, and there were balloons. And
Nick says living in a society that legally accepts his marriage brought a mental shift, psychological comfort, and helpful legal documentation.
It just made, afterwards our life became a lot easier, just like really basic, just like banking things and visa things and mortgage things and tax things.
And he's found a place to thrive in Taipei's flourishing queer scene. Nick's story is a positive one on the personal level, but Taiwan, like other East Asian countries, remains socially conservative in many aspects, and not everyone welcomed the arrival of same-sex unions. Some religious groups in particular mobilised to campaign against legislation. In other words, legal change is one thing, social acceptance is another. A recent survey shows just over half of Taiwan's public supports same-sex marriage, a number that dipped slightly in 2025, but which has grown overall over the past 5 years. It's within the family unit that the strongest prejudice exists. Only 58% of parents would accept their child being queer. Rates of acceptance are higher when it comes to having a colleague, political leader or teacher who is openly gay. Queer activist Sean Du is trying to change these perspectives through education and visibility work.
The situation is better now than like 10 years ago for LGBT to come out to their family members, but it's still not enough. We know that for LGBT, like for parents, they still need more time to understand about LGBT issues and also to accept their LGBT children.
And acceptance at home is not the only barrier. The fight for full equality continues in other areas. For example, lesbian couples are still barred from using IVF. Some restrictions remain on transnational marriages, and transgender people must undergo gender-affirming surgery before they can have their documents changed to reflect their gender identity. Right now, there are no active bills on LGBTQ+ rights in Taiwan's legislature, something Du is pushing for.
Yeah, I think we are on the road to equality, but it's not fully equality.
Still, Taiwan remains one of the most liberal countries in Asia, with only Nepal and Thailand having recognised same-sex marriage. Nick believes Taiwan's recent history has something to do with its rapid improvement in rights.
I think because it went through a period of martial law and suppression, it has this kind of push to it where they really have to fight for democracy here and then fight for all these rights. So there's this kind of fierceness to the community here that is very, you can feel it as well. They kind of really want to change things and be a bit more pushy in a good way.
Standing where many come to celebrate love and identity, Taiwan's Rainbow Crossing is more than just a photo opportunity. It's where the annual Pride Parade starts every year, and it's become a sign of what's been achieved and what's still ahead. The law change was a milestone, but the path to full equality continues with courage and visibility. Patrick Chen, Scott Huang, Reece Ayers, and Lauren Padamore for TaiwanPlus.
China berry trees in Taiwan can grow to tens of meters tall and live for more than 100 years. But due to an unfortunate homonym in their name in Taiwanese, taigi, which sounds like the words for sorrow or bitterness, many in Taiwan were cut down. Rick Glowert reports from the country's tallest surviving China berry on the fight for its survival.
A majestic but silent giant towers over this small village in Taiwan's central mountain range. Standing at over 30 meters tall is the country's largest China berry tree. For about 140 years, it's been a fixture of daily life here in Guanghua, dropping its leaves each winter and flowering in purple blooms each spring.
就高开门就带着希望。
其实那个也是有一个代表性的，代表就是我们这边就是这空气好，然后这水质好。
This tree is a rarity. In Taiwanese taigi, China berry is called kolian, a name that sounds like the word for sorrow and bitterness. And for that reason, many in Taiwan cut down trees like this. But here in Guanghua, one survived, and as the tree reaches new heights, so do concerns about its health.
先丢这个分叉，丢这个分叉，我们爬。对啊。
Locals have called in the experts. Rebecca Xu is Taiwan's most renowned tree scientist, dedicating decades to finding and protecting Taiwan's tallest trees.
你现在就直接那个挂钩的地方再加1.5米打结啊。
On her first visit to Guanghua, Xu climbed to the top of the tree and was relieved to give Taiwan's tallest China berry a clean bill of health.
如果这棵树它生病了，然后这边的人一定会被影响啊！你也知道，心理会影响身体嘛，对，所以我觉得这个就是有这样 symbol 是很 lucky 的，就不是每个村子都有这样。
Taiwan's ancient trees are under pressure. With rising temperatures and an increasingly erratic typhoon season, trees like this one are more vulnerable than ever. And with 60% of Taiwan's land covered in forest, Xu can't do this alone. She's now enlisting the help of people like Zai Yao, a member of the indigenous Zhou group who grew up just across the valley from Guanghua. He's told the village he'll help care for their tree, and says the traditions of his people who've lived in these mountains for thousands of years guides his work in the forest.
其实州主就是跟环境，其实是环境，包括说，我们看到的是周围的东西。 从树、山、河川都是很有联系，因为那就是我们的生活。
多吃哦。
As the experts scale its branches, this tree's enduring presence has also become like a bridge, connecting community, science, and age-old traditions. Its future, standing tall as a guardian over this valley, depends not only on its strong roots in this land, but also its strong roots in its people. Luffy Li, Peachy Zhuang and Rick Glowert in Jiayi County for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching. Here's what happened. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we take you to a small town in France that set a world record for the largest gathering of Smurfs. I'm Reece. Take care and see you next time.